Hey there, it's Madeline, and this is my discussion board for this week's module. So just jumping right into it, after doing all the readings and watching the videos on kind of those teacher expectations and stereotype threats in a classroom, I think honestly the biggest thing that I could say I took away from was really just how much students pick up on what teachers are saying, and just kind of how they soak in every little thing that a teacher is doing or even expecting of them. So just being really, really mindful of that as a future teacher, and just knowing that these kids are like sponges and can just feel and sense that the environment is created by the teacher as well. And looking at the Class Divided video, Jane Elliott showed the kids when they were told that the blue-eyed kids were better and the brown-eyed kids were worse than others in the class, their behavior and actually their confidence even changed almost immediately when those kind of expectations or biases were put on them in the classroom. And it just kind of made me realize how easily students can be influenced by these labels that we might not even realize we're putting on them. And even low expectations, like how those low expectations affect a student and their confidence and their ability to do work and be in the classroom together. So I think just kind of after doing some of the readings, and a lot of it pointed out that the learning gaps can actually get worse when teachers unconsciously even expect less from students, which I thought was really interesting. And some of the readings kind of remind us that these kids from kind of these marginalized backgrounds often deal with these biases without even realizing it, which can then in turn hold them back actually in classrooms. And then kind of one thing from my perspective and my experience that I've seen in classrooms is really the biggest thing, I think, when teachers kind of only call on students that are always raising their hand or maybe more of a classic teacher's pet student. And, just not really calling on the ones that maybe don't always have the right answer or really don't raise their hand a lot, or maybe they think that their answer is going to be wrong and the teacher's just tired and ready to move on with her lesson. So she doesn't even call on these kids because she thinks that their answer is going to be wrong, or she doesn't want to have to explain something again. So she just would constantly call on the same students that always had the right answer, always raised their hand. And I just think that that's something that maybe some teachers do even without even realizing it. And they're just kind of calling on those same people just because they're used to it, and they don't really want to take the time to maybe call on the people that maybe don't always have the right answer, or maybe they don't always raise their hand. But that kind of then really shows the expectations and biases that can kind of shape learning and a student's confidence, because then those kids who don't raise their hand or maybe don't always have the right answer, they just stop trying, and then they fall farther behind because they either don't ask for the help or they don't get the help they needed because the teacher is only focusing on a certain set of students. So they kind of just fall through the cracks, either unintentionally or just even sometimes teachers aren't aware that they're doing it maybe. But my question for everyone to kind of wrap all this up in the discussion board would kind of be, how can teachers kind of keep those high expectations for all students without kind of accidentally making anyone feel that they're less than, but still kind of being able to work with all learning types and all students in the classroom. So that's kind of the question that I had after this whole thing. So yeah, that was my discussion board for this module.